Our next topic, largely classified as wardrobe and clothes, but it really came from something that I saw not too long ago. A few years ago, I wrote an article about mending clothes, and one of the examples that I used of it is that if you look at Prince Charles of England, you take a very close look at many of his suits, you can see little patches on them where the Prince of England, gets his clothes mended so that he can reuse them and keep them in good hand. And I read an article recently from a Canadian source. They republished, they did another story on it. I said, oh, I remember when I wrote about that article. And it's to the point where his tailor actually keeps all the scraps from every suit that Prince Charles has ever had made so that he has material to go back to patch things. All right. So here, the royal household of England is mending and saving his clothes. Yep. And I wrote about that a while ago, about the importance of it and how to do it. One of the real challenges with having that philosophy of keeping your clothes and mending them is that if you're not an accomplished tailor, seamstress, clothes maker, cobbler, it's really hard to find those professionals now. You go downtown in your town and go look for the tailor.
Or come to Redwood City because we actually have them.
Yeah, they're very few. All right, so it is very difficult to do that. So Melissa and I were talking about this, and you came up, you kind of tied that in rather nicely of how do we accomplish that, and how do we really look at the whole wardrobe and clothing aspect with some aspect of that in mind.
Yeah. So what I loved about that particular article that Kevin wrote is that if you have clothes that you want to mend, that means that you spent purposefully because they're clothes that you love, right? And we hopefully you have something in your closet that gives you that pleasure, or hopefully you're starting to build that wardrobe of all those things giving you that pleasure. So if you've got, I mean, I'm in my clothes all the time. If that idea of falling in love with an item, right? And in this day and age, and it's hilarious in this day and age, it is hilarious that with all the opportunities to go out and to find clothes, how if you wanted to replace something, it would be almost impossible because the short time frame that a clothing season runs, right?
Oh, yeah.
The fit,
just the detail, the style, the material, it all changes.
Yeah.
You get something. I run into that problem a lot because I'm not particularly a clothes horse by any stretch of the imagination, so I don't buy clothes very frequently, but I like what I like, and so I will find a shirt, I will buy it, I will wear it to death. 5 or 6 years later, my wife will finally say, okay, this is looking ratty, you need to replace it. Good luck trying to find an identical shirt 5 years after it was, first of all, even in men's fashion. I can't imagine women's fashion, because women's fashion changes every season. You can never find the same thing.
Right.
But even men's fashion changes significantly. It's like, I really like that shirt. I want one just like it. I can never find it.
Yeah, exactly. So to the best of your ability, right, you're going ahead and mending it. And, if you can find a tailor or a cobbler for the shoes, an investment, it will be an investment. I had a friend just had a skirt mended, hemmed, and it was something like, I want to say it was like $20, $25. But it was a very expensive skirt that she invested in, and she wears it regularly. She didn't have to go out and replace another skirt for $75, right? $50.
Yeah.
And she knows it fits. I mean, that's the other thing with clothes is fit and all that. So I would say that is a great barometer for you when you're looking at your clothes and you're trying to decide what is it that is worth keeping, what is it that is worth getting rid of, because that's the first step in building a savvy wardrobe is to clean out and get rid of what's not working for you, because that's data. Yeah. That's not guilt. Don't feel guilty about it. This is now you're savvy, right? Yeah. So be happy about that. But as you're getting rid of stuff, why do you not want to keep that? Is it because it was uncomfortable? I cannot stand wearing clothes that are uncomfortable. And I did an event. There was about 75 people there, and it was one of the worst presentations I've ever given because I was so uncomfortable in my clothes, and I kept getting distracted because it was a new outfit. I'll never do that again. Wear a new outfit on stage for the first time, and it's just one of the things I've learned about me. I have to be comfortable.
Yeah, I never wear synthetic fibers. I never wear polyester shirts.
Yeah.
Cotton, linen, wool, natural fibers, because even if that fiber, that shirt is not against my skin, if I'm wearing an undershirt, the way it moves and just the way it feels, it makes me uncomfortable. And how can you expect me to be comfortable and professional and involved with the audience or the client that I'm working with if I'm literally uncomfortable in my own skin?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that where you're going with that is very critical. As you go through and look at your wardrobe and you come across something that you say, you know what, I'm really not too fond of this. I would not invest any money in getting this fixed. Really be analytical about why do you not like it?
Yeah.
And then don't do it again. Go find something else.
Yeah. And then you're really paying attention to what is it that you love.
Yeah.
That's right. Is it the neckline? Is it the color? I've learned that I can't wear prints. Don't look good on me, so I don't even look at prints when it makes shopping very easy. I go straight for the basics. One investment I will never forget, and it's so funny because I'm not a clothes horse. I have an appreciation for clothes and the statement that they make, and I try to dress nicely. But I had a pair of boots that I got it was a place like H&M. They were maybe $30. It was like a Victorian boot. It laced up, but it had a nice heel to it. I probably gave 70, 75 speeches in those boots. And I will never forget, I was in New Hampshire for a presentation. I gave the presentation and I was packing up to come home in my hotel room the next morning. And I looked at them and I'm like, I can't. It's an embarrassment. I cannot wear these boots anymore. And I took a picture of them. That is a testament to how much I loved those shoes. And they, unfortunately, because they weren't good quality.
Yeah, you couldn't repair them. Yeah.
I shouldn't say that because they lasted me for a good 5 years. But because they weren't like a leather, I could not repair them. And that's another lesson. So next time I look for those shoes and I haven't been able to replace them yet because I haven't been able to find them. But yeah, anyway, started wax philosophic about my beautiful Victorian shoes.
But that's what you want to look for. So again, it's the two things is, and one of the other things that I'll talk about with the mending idea is that it is incredibly hard, and depending on where you live, to find tailors, cobblers, and things like that. You can repurpose clothes in different ways, and you can just take something that was very nice and keep making it more and more casual until it ends up being the clothes you wear when you paint the house.
Yeah.
If you feel comfortable in it,
that's old school.
That's old school. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, I'm not saying. Side note, which I thought was actually a brilliant story. I'm not saying that you need to take the potato sacks and make dresses out of them. Although I don't know if you were aware that in the 30s and 40s, when several of the major distributors for flour became aware that women were making dresses out of the drapes out of the flour sacks, they intentionally stopped printing their labels and information on the flour sacks so that the women would have more flexibility and be able to make these clothes and not have their kids running around in Acme flour.
Yeah.
That was. Can you imagine that type of sensitivity today?
Yeah.
It would be wonderful. But again, the whole point is that I'm not saying that you have to make dresses out of flour sacks. Just if you like something, don't necessarily throw it away if you can use it a different way.
Yeah. And, if you have never picked up needle and thread in your entire life, YouTube is a wonderful resource. I'm very lucky in that I was taught how to sew as a kid. Thanks again, Grams.
Yeah.
And my mom actually too. But yeah, YouTube can help you sew a button. Zippers are beyond me. That's something that I would send off. But hemming something,
find a friend.
Yeah.
Trade cookies for sewing favors. That's
a whole other good topic that we should do.
Yeah. I've done that. I can sew not very well. I have but I'm a pretty darn good cook, and so I've definitely swapped.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. And just to wrap that particular topic up, one of the stories out of that original story that you based your story on was Ralph Lauren.
Yes.
And they had a picture of him in a sweater, present day, and they had him in that same sweater. Was it 30 years?
Oh, it's about 30 years ago. And it was just that he loved that sweater. And so he took care of it and he kept repairing it. And so why would I get rid of it?
Yeah.
I like it. So just keep it functional.
Yep. It is funny to me how so many people in the fashion industry have a very classic, basic look. They create all these crazy fashions, but for them and the way that they present themselves is very. I mean, look at Anna Wintour.
A lot of them, a lot of them do.
Yeah.
Yes, some of the designers do embody their products and go crazy, but by and large, a lot of them are fairly classical and kind of traditional in that regard. Yeah.
To give a shout out on this particular topic, there is a woman in San Francisco. Her name is Autumn Adami, and she owns a corsetry shop. She actually just opened one in New Orleans as well.
Oh, good for her.
I met her through a mutual friend years and years ago. I've been a mad, crazy fan of hers, and she wears vintage every day. Her every day is vintage because that's her brand. Her persona, yeah. But I do believe that she makes some of her own. She buys some vintage, but there's a woman that is going to take care of what she has. And if you get a chance, and I'll put links to her shop in the notes below, because to me she's just a really good embodiment of somebody that cares about clothing and would absolutely live this persona that we were talking about. Yeah, she's a cool chick.
So tying in, and we'll remember to do this as a future topic also. But we talked about mending and how to repair clothes. Taking care of clothes so you don't have to mend them in the first place is a whole nother topic, and we'll cover that in another session because we're just about out of time.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We will be back. Next week is Halloween. I will not be in costume. I will wait until after we do our session, as much as we talked about costumes a while ago. But yeah, join us next Thursday, the 31st at 3:00 Pacific time. Yes. We will be talking about smart spending one way or another. Yep. And if you want to check us out on our website, thesavvylife.com, you can sign up for our weekly newsletter, The List. And it's just simply...
New articles every week, and a list of 3 actionable activities homework assignments basically, that you can do that will immediately help you live a more savvy life. We tend to get very philosophical in these things because we love talking about savvy living. These assignments are very practical. Yep.
You can also see us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We each have our own LinkedIn profiles, and check us out if you have not seen it. If you're not watching us on YouTube, if you are watching us live, we've got a YouTube channel there. It's thesavvylife.com, but type in my last name, Tosetti, Tosetti. Otherwise, you're going to get a channel for a 13-year-old girl who
does makeup.
No, it's more on the spendy side.
So yeah, she got in there first and grabbed the name.
Actually, no, we did.
Okay, so how much I did those things.
So yeah, no, it's anyway, for whatever reason, she comes up. We are both the Savvy Life, but she comes up first, so you got to find us that way. All right. Okay. Anyway, thanks guys.
Thanks. See you next week.
Bye.